Turns out Halloween came early because I got some Sword and Shield games to watch with y'all today, and the ghost types, they be ghosting. In particular, this first game, where I have never seen a better Golurk match in my life. How you queue into no ghost resist, no ghost immunity, no itemless Pokemon in Gen 8 of all gens, I will never understand. Along with, slower and can't one-shot if it's not boosted, can't one-shot, literally the dream match. This is what I want all my ladder games to be like, and instead I faced, Charizard fan 123 with his in-game team, and I'm like, ah, damn. Turns out I'm the champion, and I was meant to be defeated today. Subscribe now or subscribe. Let's get into this. So, like I said, game 1. I mean, even Delmise is great here, by the way. It's more vulnerable to the Talon than the Golurk is, and so there's very little that Mr. Lucario can do versus Piyush here. His Golurk is just, you can't beat it. He would literally have to luck the shit out of the Golurk. And for that reason, I'm like, I don't even know what your win con is. Piyush disconnecting? Insane luck? And I don't mean this in like, oh, his team is ass or anything. I mean this as in, I genuinely don't know what you do when you face a Golurk with this team. Decidueye is a little bit more clear because at the very least, sure, you still don't have switch-ins, but Talonflame is a much better offensive answer to like Decidueye than say like Rotom is to Golurk, or even like Gastro as a defensive answer. I could see how that matchup would be playable, and even like with this one, I can at least see Talonflame checking down. Yeah, you don't one-shot it with Brave Bird, but at the very least, you resist the grass move. You resist any like anchor shot stuff. There's more paths to victory. I will admit, in this game, the Golurk is like the biggest threat by far, but all the other mons I think you can kind of contain. The main worry I'd have if I'm Luke is there are 3 Psychic/Fairy types that all are going to be pressuring Copamus Prime very effectively. And so, it's kind of just tough. Because I think you eventually get threat overloaded with your, singular steel anyway. Anyhow, Rotom Volts on the Thwackey into Oricorio by PTSD. Oh no. Deancey comes out though. You could just rock up here. You could even Meteor Beam if you want, but I mean, Copper Rod is coming out. I don't think wasting it right now is exactly right. And we see Lucario acknowledging Lurk's a bit of a threat. He also may have just been trying to Ironhead the Deancey in case it I don't know, stayed into Earth Power, and then you get a free kill. But also, like I said, it covers the Lurk, so you get damage on it. The problem is that Piyush is a terrible human being. Dynamic punches Talon. We also see this isn't banded Lurk, which, oh yeah, no, just Polters here. As an aside, by the way, I don't really know why it's not banded on this team. Probably just for synergy. It might be like Rock Polish. I could see why on a grassy terrain you wouldn't be banded. Actually, never mind. But still, just imagine banded Lurk into this team. Oh my god. But the Talon hits itself. It probably went for Wisp, if I had to guess. And no Wisp is now terrible. He switches into Delm. Delm is always fine here. And again, Leaf Storm, because we do not mess around with this threat. Delm eats that up just fine. Goes for a Swords Dance as well on the predicted switch. Because with Talon gone, there's nothing that comes out and actually threatens Delmise anymore. So even though the Croak has Shadow Ball, doesn't do nearly enough. Gets obliterated. That Anchor Shot definitely killed a second Toxic Croak too. Now the Mower comes out once again. Now you're actually threatened with a Revenge Kill. But Thwackey can just always reset terrain. You saw plenty of HP on this mon. All your guys are chilling. So Valley Flying, the Tyrantrum comes in here. That Smash is pretty free. There's 2 Grassy Seed Mons here. Uxie is going to be plenty bulky enough to deal with whatever comes out. And ends up being the Scale Shot. It's probably like Lum DD or like Bandit even Teatrum. Though, I just don't think that's banded damage. Does absolutely nothing at all. The Uxie is going to be able to Calm Mind up a couple times. And although Raj comes out, it's not Whirlwind. Ironhead doesn't really do anything either. Very lucky that Uxie does not have an ability that lets it touch the ground and actually benefit from this terrain. So this crit's probably a little bit annoying, but admittedly, I'm not too sure that it matters that much. Because you're just trying to let Uxie weaken this however much it can, so that inevitably Golurk comes back out. and gets just Poltergeist, or even Dynamic Punch. At this point, clicking Dynamic Punch repeatedly is super okay, because there's no fight resist. So when, as you see here, Gastro comes out, you get to just Polter it again, and there's nothing it can really say or do about it. Polter, as you see, it doesn't actually do nearly as much as you'd maybe want it to, but it does just enough to where after the hit from Confusion, Gastrodon is unable to get leftovers recovery to put it maybe out of range even of Poltergeist, and so it just dies. So Golurk's picked up like, what, 2 kills now this game due to a Dynamic Punch Confusion? Very, very funny. Mower kills off the Thwacky. Diancie, the fact that this Mon can live from full the Leaf Storm is just evil. But Meteor Beams, the Rodiment kills it. So Valley Flying once again comes out here. There's, yeah, Head Smash will kill, but again, you just let Mr. Lurk back out literally whenever. So Golurk comes out once again and can just Dynamic Punch. We do see what I said about maybe needing luck. Had he gotten literally just a 2-hit after that crit, maybe the game's actually losable, but probably not even then, because the Dhelmise is going to be Grassy Glide on this type of team, and there were enough terrain turns to where I believe even if the Teatrum ended up getting the kill, I'm not too sure that he would have won. It would have made things interesting, just because if we go back here, of course, we could see the Teatrum is at, where is it? I need to see. Yeah, it's at 76. That's all I need to see. But had he guilt the Golurk, he gets some Grassy Terrain. He's put up to like 82. -1 defense, sure. I'm not too sure the Grassy Glide kills. It would have come down to if Xatu could somehow cheese its way past. So, I mean, all that to say, it's kind of funny how close this game still ended up being. And yeah, I mean, literally he just gets the 3rd hit, and then, maybe this one could do it. I think it may have ended up coming down to like the Dhelmise going for like an SD on a switch. That for sure would have sealed the game. But I think even if you just glide, you probably could just glide. Yeah, the more I think about it, I think you just glide twice to kill Raj. It definitely dies. And if you don't think it does, well, just land Poltergeist. And then this Teatrum comes back out. It would be at like 70-ish, we'll say. 69 even, because that's a nice number. After the rocks, Glide's gonna do a ton, and then you just have to kind of hope Xatu can do enough damage. Like maybe it's Dazzling Gleam Xatu, and then you for sure win. Although the problem would be, yeah, the problem would, you'd start running into issues of like if Scale Shot from Teatrum kills. Anyhow, all I have to say, next game there's another Golurk. Though this is a much funnier game because there's a Mudstale and even a Braviary. So not only do you have just a generic, you know, one of the more common checks to Golurk, you also have a Mud that literally walls its stab attacks. If you're Kushalos, you see that and you're like, wow, that's a little depressing. You also have Scrafty into Sylveon, which is just always a just riveting matchup. You know, it's not the most entertaining matchup. I think there's enough reason to be annoyed at preview with this. Fortunately for Kush, Phantomistix is some of the most unviable sets ever, and I'm only saying this because there's a Swords Dance, Parting Shot, so Valley Steel. That's the only set on his team that's unviable, and why am I calling it unviable? You may ask. Why am I boosting my attack to the Parting Shot out? Just use U-turn, man, please. Please, just use U-turn. Why are you letting Xatu bounce back your multi-shot? Your multi-shot? God. This set triggers me so much I can't even speak. Why are you letting Xatu bounce back your pivot? Why? Definitely SD U-turn I would just always bother with. No, Sword Dance of Valley Steel is generally a cool set. As I mentioned, did I even mention this earlier? No, this was me talking to myself when I was watching the games. Wow. This could be SD Rest as well, and that comes into play when you're talking about like how you play around the Mantine with this team, because Mantine is at least marginally annoying through spamming Skull Burns. But typically a team like this may rely on, like, as I said, Rest SD Steel Valley, because then you just beat the bulky water types as long as they're not like, you know, Haze, Mantine, or Vapo. All that to say, I don't think the matchup for Phantom's terrible. The Braviary is a bit of a double-edged sword, because on one hand you do wall the stabs from Golurk, and that is just naturally good. On the other hand, though, Diancie literally eats your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I think there's enough cause for concern about Lurk plus Diancie long-term kind of beating this team. A lot of it comes down to what the Lurk set is. If it's something like Banded Golurk, it's annoying enough, but I think it's playable. Although, we learned that this is Spec Sylveon. Banded Lurk spamming CC or even Dynamic Punch just sound quite difficult to play against. But even if it's just something like with Trick, depending whatever gets tricked, like if it's like Klutz Iron Barb, or Sticky Barb, I mean, or even Klutz Assault Vest Trick, I feel like a lot of that could add some potential to mess with the game. If you dump that on Mudsdale and take away its longevity, I think long term you will just beat it down with Lurk plus DNC. And then, I mean, DNC looks just annoying to deal with. Like, you may say, oh, but there's the Silvally Steel. Yeah, bro, I'm body pressing that on the Switch every time. And your Silvally Steel just taking out like a mission practically. You're never sweeping this game because you have, again, SD Parting Shot. It's probably like multi-rock slide if I had to guess for coverage, which, I mean, it looks marginally annoying, I guess. I'm just like, there's a Talonflame, bro. I don't want to talk about this mon until Talon is gone, you know? And, the lead matchup is Plume into Sylveon, and because this is a Kushalos game, one thing you can guarantee is that this Vileplume is Infestation Leech Seed, because that is the only set that this dude runs. So as you see, the Silvally comes out and immediately gets infested. But we also see that the Silvally Steel can Parting Shot out. And I'll be real too, the Sword Sets later on catches me very off guard, because shouldn't this just be Defog on this team? Like, wouldn't Defog Steel Valley make a lot more sense? I don't know. It is what it is, but Golurk comes out on the arc as it teleports. Mo comes out, and we see Kushalos just flexing a little bit there. Stays in, reveals he's Choice Scarf, and he gets to Ice Punch the road to Mo. He does switch out, I believe, here. Yeah, because obviously you trick a Scarf, you technically are not locked in the trick. So we get Scrafty now, knocking off the arc as it teleports. Sylveon comes out. Plume, you see a lot of the damage here. It just indicates the specs instead of it being Wish Pass, which Wish Pass would probably be a lot better this game. Steel Valley comes out, just a Sword Stance versus Vileplume. The thing is you're not ever beating this mon down. And you know how I know that? Because Vileplume can spam Strength Sap for frickin' ever if it really needs, but also there is a full health Talon, there's a full health Mantine. You could maybe worry about this being able to, like, I don't know, maybe if it gets all the way up to +5, it does enough. I just think at that point, you've taken so much damage, I'm not sure that you've, like, won anything. So this is what I also meant. Yeah, Lurk comes out as his Parting Shots. Imagine you got a little U-turn chip instead, dude. Yeah, we also see him, I think the switch is kind of indicating he thought Mo would try and absorb the trick. Because if you see Scarf Golurk, you probably think it's Trick. But, so we end up with this sequence where Arcanine heals up on the Vileplume, gets sapped again, which, oh, my bad. Toxic doesn't matter. Gets poisoned here. I'll admit, I think the toxic there, not toxic, the sap versus arc is kind of pointless because it's definitely flamethrower. If they're the bulky set, they're almost always flame in my experience. But it doesn't really matter. Talon comes out and immediately flame bodies the Silvally. And this is kind of just goes to say how useful it would have been if this was rest this game. I mean, God, even versus that. Obviously, then you're not gonna have coverage, but still. And then this crit comes out. Oh God, stinky. So realistically, what you wanted if you're Phantom there is not to get crit, and then you try and go for some Morning Suns. I don't know how much Talon does at +0. I feel like it does at max like 35 though to Arcanine. So, you know, say it's even less, it's like 32. You do 2-shot actually at +1, but maybe Art gets that Morning Sun off and it can throw off a Toxic and just prevent the sweep. Not that this is sweeping anyway from this spot, but you know, you force it out. Yeah, the Mo revolts on Scrafty. Bravier comes out now. And again, we have to just come to terms with the fact that there is a DNC. You were never winning with this. He bulks up anyway though, and Kush decides, you know what? I don't need this. I'm tricking you. So now the Braviary is super never sweeping because yeah, once again, there's a DNC. You will be leaving now. Get out. And DNC can just up here. This is also where you see now no hazard control is really detrimental because your Braviary, not that it had boots to begin with, but now your Braviary is going to be taking even more detrimental hazards damage. Your Rotomo is almost dead. That's really all that matters. And yeah, that Toxic Miss is also just kind of, not that it changes the course of the game that much. It's just kind of some extra salt in the wound. As now, you don't have a bit of poison on this dude. Not that it matters. I think this is probably Heal Bell DNC. But, you know, it would have been something. Gets a little bit of cane chip. Hyper Voice does just half, but yeah, I mean, this never beats Mantine because you can just literally roost spam. And this is the generation before we had 8 PowerPoint roosts, so Mantine can actually stall this out. Sylveon literally inevitably forced out. And yeah, this was definitely a tilt play here, I believe, from Phantom. He volt switches here. There's just no reason to do that. I think you always trick. Now, maybe he's worried. Maybe he thought the Mantine might stay in and he could kill it with Volt. And it was just going to try and Scald. The thing I'd say in retaliation is killing Mantine does nothing. I think you just always trick there because there's nothing else you could do. You Volt out, you're dead to hazards, you know? So, Braver tries to sing. Maybe you crit twice, you could have done something, but it's just kind of Jove. Very unfortunate game there, but I do think we saw some very detrimental luck as well for Phantom. That Toxic Miss from Arc, I think, was like the biggest, or not Toxic Miss from Arc, the crit on Arc. I was just thinking of that miss. The miss from Muds was honestly not even that consequential. It's just annoying. But this getting crit and just dying to Talon completely changes his ability to win the game. Not that I think that he had a super favorable matchup to begin with. It just takes it from unfavorable to unplayable, as I like to sometimes say. Anyhow, Halloween continues, because now we have Gourgeist into another team where there is just no Ghost Resist to be found, no immunity, no nothing. You can't tear that Toxicroak, no, no, no. Also, this was just a thought I had when I was watching. So this tournament does give out a custom avatar prize to the winning team. And Roxie's on the Let Flygons Be Flygons team. Now, I then said to myself, why the fuck did they get drafted by that team? You already have a Flygon avatar, what's the point? You want 2? Green motherfucker, how dare you? Oh god, OBB using one of like pretty old team. I feel like I've seen this team around the block quite a few times. But it's just kind of one of those old reliable types. Gourgeist small. It's kind of a weird pick to see in NU, but it's got the cool niche of Moonblast access. So with Guzzlord being oftentimes a team's best option for ghost resistance, being able to Moonblast it and I believe 2-shot, it's pretty good. I do not believe it's that set on this build, but it's an option for teams. Gorg's pretty okay as well this game. As per usual, it does come down to like what some sets are. Like, is Gorg Life Orb or is it something like Scarf? The only 2 sets it runs. And then you got questions like, okay, well, is the Sylveon offensive? Is it bulky? It's always bulky on this team. There's no sense in running Spec Sylveon here. One thing I did note just on previews, this is the worst Intellicroak matchup ever. You are facing Mantine, Heliolisk, and even Mudsdale's here too, just in case. Like, you're never winning with this. This mod is not breaking. Mantine's kind of annoying already to face because you don't know if it's Hurricane. If it has Hurricane, Croak can't even really safely do anything against it, so you have to scout out pretty much every move it has until you can almost safely ascertain that it is not going to just kill you. And it takes away a lot of the potency, because the whole point of this core is, yeah, Inteleon sucks against water immunities, but at the very least I can U-turn on him, bring out my Toxicroak, and then I can get something going. And Toxicroak's very strong in Gen 8. Life Orb sets particularly, I mean, there are literal calcs where after Stealth Rock you one-shot Mudsdale with a physical attack. So that's kind of vile. But in this type of matchup, I just don't really see the angle for this really to ever do anything. If you know it's not Hurricane Mantine, it gets a little better. Because then, okay, well, Mantine can't touch you probably. It's like Scald, Toxic, Roost, Defog or something. Maybe even Subtoxic. We've seen that a little bit as well. Although I've always seen Subtoxic run a flying move because walled by Croak and in providing no utility to your team is simply unviable. Otherwise though, yeah, it's just another toughie where I look at the preview and I'm like, damn, you gotta get some insanely good lines going and have the sets be exactly what you want. Like, Croak certainly has a chance of doing something this game, but you really gotta know what that Tine set is before you can feel any good about it. Anyhow, the Gorg is led with because, again, it's Halloween in February 1st, and immediately the Mudsdale gets tricked. Now, this is pretty decent for OBB. One, he just gets to whip the Mudsdale for a whole bunch of damage, but 2, having it crippled by the Scarf is pretty good for like Heliolisk and Tyrantrum both. So now if this is like a DDT Trum, it just looks a lot better. Heliolisk as well long term, maybe going to be able to start Volt switching and, you know, not caring. Polter Missile on Rotom sucks. And we also see that it is for sure Scarf too. So a chip on that would have been nice, just because that actually also opens up Heliolisk a little bit more. Hell, it opens up T-Trum more too, if you don't have to deal with the Scarf Rotom. And now Roxie's actually got a good amount of momentum on their side, as Muds is able to actually get the Wish here. And OBB kind of greedy, goes for another SD here. This is not offensive Muds or anything, by the way. This is just max HP as Scavalier, taking damn near 40 from an Earthquake. So that's pretty disgusting. Pretty terrible chip to take. And we end up seeing that this Scavalier, instead of probably two-shotting Mudsdale, or coming damn close, actually, I think it two-shots, it gets 1 hit off. It's still a good amount of HP, and really you just need this mon hovering at around half anyway. It's going to be able to do this protect nonsense against Sylveon whenever it needs to later on. So it's not the end of the world, but it's certainly not a great sequence to have. And also Rotom Mow is looking very, very annoying the lower and lower the score gets. So once again, good Volt Switch from Roxie there, gets Inteleon out. The problem with this Inteleon is, once again, you cannot go Croak yet. You have no idea if this is Hurricane. Fortunately, he can go Rotom, but here there's a Leaf Storm miss. Mantine also would have lived Volt anyway, so OBB wasn't really at risk of anything. If anything, though, I think Volt, if you go for Volt, I think you just go out to Croak and then you say, okay, well, I'm gunk shotting you, have fun. And we see Croak get out versus the T-Trum there. And actually goes for the Sword Stance, predicting T-Trum to switch. The problem is, they low kicked here, and no, you don't, that's not how that works. You do not one-shot without rocks, you one-shot with rocks. So, Croak is dead. You definitely still got a lot of value out of it, although this thing slowly but surely regenerating its HP is not what you want to see. The setup is, of course, for Klinklang. I'm just not sure that doing all this... Like, at this point, you just sacked your Croak for, what? For the horse to then regenerate back up to 1/3 of its HP? Little tough, little tough. Definitely playable still, though. T-Trum out versus Intel. This time, OBB stays in. And so he's just gonna, you know, use whatever move. The horse just sacks. Seeing CC come out makes me think that this is maybe even a banded T-Trum. It could still be like Lumberry setup. I just, you know, I think you would have set up on that turn for sure, right? Like just DD up and do whatever from there. Gear Grind misses. And this is, you know, you Gear Grind there because your whole point is, oh, well, surely. I went Clink against a Mantine. Surely it's screaming I have Wild Charge, right? OBB doesn't care though. And here, Wild Charge actually does get clicked, so, and he's like, oh, right, Wild Charge is a move this learns. Let me switch. So the Gorg gets sacked. But, you know, Gorg's done what it needs to do. Helio comes out. It's faster. T-Bolt does 500,000, so you can just always safely go for that. And Rotom comes out, even takes a good amount. Probably just always go, yeah. At this point, you can sack Horse. It's probably Magnet Rise anyway, so you don't even beat it, really. You have to be Roar or Body Press, and as you see, it's neither. Sylveon comes out versus the horse. It's just losing to EQ here. He does throw up a Desperado Wish. That way, at least Kling can get a little bit of HP back as it goes for the Magnet Rise. It's like you could go Rotom Mow here if you really wanted to pass the Wish, but do you want this Mudsdale? This Mudsdale was low kicked by Croak, brought down to 6%. It is almost at half. It was hilarious to me. And the para there is just adding, you know, more insult to injury. As you see in chat, OBB just saying this T-Bolt did not matter, I promise you. And he's right. The para doesn't actually matter because you're just going to revenge kill it with a Scavalier anyway. So it's like, it's annoying at the time, sure, but it's not something that actually changes the course of the game. And then Roxie forfeits because, yeah, surprisingly, the Toxic Rotom Mow at 3% cannot defeat 4 Pokemon. Some of you may not like hearing that. Oh, spoiled the game. Oh, well. But it is what it is. DugZa versus Stareal now. Now, my poor friend DugZa here is actually on my team. And as you saw, he gets smoked by a Glass Tree this game. And for preview, you can probably tell why. That is 3 Pokemon weak to Ice. And Aldino, which just... You're not threatening the spawn with anything. Heliolisk, which just doesn't do enough damage because Glassed is a very obese Pokemon. And then a Scavalier, which is a good enough check, right? It's not like, you know, Scavalier's not pressured at all this game. However, what is pressured is that Aldino, what is pressured is that Vileplume, and I mean, even kind of pressured the Mudsdale. Subglassed is just really hard to deal with. You have to keep momentum up so successfully against you. You also have to make sure you are getting your wish passes to a Scavalier. And those are really the only outs you have against this stupid horse. Otherwise, it's just kind of gonna do whatever. Like, it's hard to stop it from sweeping because you only need Escav at about half for +2 of whatever coverage you have. It can be CC, high horsepower, or like throat chop even. Well, you don't see throat chop anymore because there's no bronze on. But the point is, really only is down at half for you to win with glass. So, okay, how does Stareal set this up? Because we saw what happened. And if we're just talking about like anything, I'm gonna be real. I thought our matchup this game was abysmal. Aerodactyl has to be your win con, and Vapo plus Horse. It's kind of brutal, is it not? Anyhow, Glass led with because God is its matchup great. It can also always just force damage on our Escap early, and you see as well the sub here is just so nice. Terrible for us, but so nice for Stareal. And yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So +2 high horsepower, 56. Keep that number in mind. Escav SDs on the switch just for fun. There's a talent play. I never SDing in this matchup once, but if you didn't want to. If your SD3 attacks, you did not want to attack in a Talonflame or switch, you know what? SD is a fair play. We'll say that's the thought process, because I think that's a fire play to make. The horse gets knocked. It is, of course, better for us long-term. Toxic is a little annoying, but it doesn't actually matter, because we're, you know, just heal bell on a Dino, so you're always pretty chill with that. Rocks up. This also does not matter at all because an Eldegoss just switched in, but Mr. Doug makes a very nice play here, Toxicking the Eldegoss. Similarly, doesn't really matter, but you're actually going to see in this game, Toxic sticks for quite some time. So the Goss ends up being able to get, you know, a lot of chip on it. And this is a common theme, this battle. Every time that Audino comes out, rest assured, there is a horse just lurking in the shadows. And because of how many turns this Glass is able to set behind Substitute, it feels like, it kind of just keeps getting more turns to really set one up. And now the Escavalier dies to +2 high horsepower. Isn't that fun, guys? Now the thing is it's not that simple for Stareal still. As long as like Arrow and even Helios to some degree are alive, the Glass does still have to be a little careful to not throw the entire game away. Because you lose Glass, you have no breaking power into this team. And this is a very fat team, so like you will not really have any. I'm not gonna say you'll have no outs, but your outs become a lot less clear. Audino did get a nice double in versus the Vapo, so it actually gets to just heal bell and now wish pass as well. So horses are chosen recipient of the wish. We can just, again, this is, I was gonna say you get free rocks, but instead we toxic the horse, and this time we dodge. So that's pretty cool. You get, again, you can rock. I question how useful it is. My mindset as well has me saying you like want to go Escav on the toxic if you can. Not even on Toxic. Escav on, like, if you're ever able to predict the Goss, because that's gonna maybe let you position Arrow in versus Talon, and if you could keep up momentum, you maybe prevent this from ever getting a Wish Pass, or, you know, from it getting Heal Belled, and then maybe you're able to just win. Because if you get rid of Horse, Arrow can definitely do something. Anyhow, that's, in my head, that's like literally all you have going for yourself this game. Goss gets knocked, doesn't really matter. Helmet's very whatever for us this game. As it spins, you're just gonna, again, you're gonna wish pass. You definitely, or heal bell, but you definitely need to wish pass into the Escavalier. Like that's, as I watched the replay, that's like the one thought that goes through my head the entire time. And then just a little bit more knock as well, because he's just trying to pressure this Goss as best he can. It's pretty difficult, because it's an Eldegoss, but, you know, or Generator or Schmitterator, who cares? Mudsdale to switch out from Stareal, just in case that it was like some random specs grass nodding Heliolisk. No good reason to lose your Mudsdale to something like that, especially with, as we've made sure to clarify, Arrow is the win con for DugZa. So now you see Horse, EQ, into Goss, which, I mean, keeping this low is, you know, naturally good still. Goss could even maybe take a hit from Arrow at +1, get, you know, Giga Drain off. There's definitely some potential for it even to be a hindrance. But again, we get this Audino sequence. And again, at the very least, you're keeping this low. The spin is kind of just whatever. You want rocks, but you don't care necessarily. At most, I mean, you want rocks. You really want rocks, but if you can't have them, you can't have them, right? So Vapo comes out. Vapo finally gets a heal bell off this. Eldegoss is freed from its shackles. Doug knows that's coming, so he just ups. And, you know, I guess I shouldn't underestimate how useful rocks are in this battle, too, though, because glass being lefties means you really need something to pressure it. So it makes sense to keep prioritizing them as best you can. Escapulator once again, and again, this is the sequence I'm talking about. You have to double arrow here. Arrow does get doubled in. And here we see what Doug needed in terms of a bit of luck. So Vapo comes out, he Stone Edge crits it. And then as the Vapo does not protect, he gets maybe what was a bit of a high roll. Stareal says, really? Now I'm gonna keep it a stack with all of you. I don't know why this didn't use protect. He could have protected out of range. Now, my guess was he didn't want Heliolisk coming out, or even like, I don't know, he didn't want like Helios coming in. I don't know. I'd have to ask. It was definitely he did not like the switch that DugZa could make on the protect. I would always protect. Anyhow, I mean, again, he loses the Vapo because of the crit, but he could have preserved it. It doesn't matter. Horse comes out now. Crit sucks regardless, because now without Wish, this is where you look at DugZa's team and you're like, oh, Arrow could actually win now. Very, very feasibly. There's no more Wish Pass. There's no more Heal Bell. So now, Horse can't take those trades of Toxic. We're going to ignore that our Horse is just dying here. But Horse can't take those trades anymore, and anytime it gets hit by literally anything, so even, if it's like our arrows like dual wing beat or EQ even, or even just stray stone edges, the damage sticks, so it's not good at all. Our Adino can come out here, the Wish Pass again, just so you keep a Scavalier alive. Escav, of course, as you hear, gets back to full, but this is the beginning of the this stupid Horse comes out on another very nice play, just reading these Aldino switch-ins, and Escav now is just two-shot. At this point, he feels pretty comfortable as well that we do not have Iron Head, or CC even. So if he stays into high horsepower, we do Mega Hornet for a good amount of damage, but it's just not enough. 38 is disgustingly low. And as our arrow comes out, we're reminded of the fact we did crit earlier, so Hax giveth and Hax taketh. We miss a Stone Edge there on the glass, and these both switches from Heliolisk, I regret to inform you, Mr. DugZa, they will not be enough. Hyper Voice literally just barely not enough damage. And we have lost. Dun dun dun. Was there any chance for last Mon Vileplume to win? No, it was +4 attack. Not +4, +6. This could have gone for tackle, and we would have taken like 80%, man. But I probably all enjoyed. Very fun games. The Golurk ones were very, very funny, especially. Mostly this one. But even this game, Golurk did some funniness with staying on the road to Mo and absorbing the trick, getting a trick off on the Braviary as well. Very useful Pokemon. Thank you all for watching now. See y'all tomorrow. Probably some laddering. We'll see how I feel. But take care, y'all. Peace.